What's going on? And we're going to be going over the early 12:30 slate and also just talk about all kinds of other stuff DFS-wise that's going on today. Bobby made a mistake of telling me that he couldn't make it today because he had stuff to do, and he said aren't any real good slates anyway. Well, no real good slates is kind of code for these are sheet slates. When everybody is just kind of not paying attention and the experts are not all piling in 150 lineups or whatever, these are the days where you can snap off some stuff. You have two kind of 3 or 4 game slates, a little bit, some in the afternoon, some later, and then there's NBA and there's NHL. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just look through all of this stuff. First thing I have to do, though, is, again, you're going to have to just kind of be with me as I do this, is I do want to post my stuff on State Kings for the afternoon slates. I was away for a while. I did promise them that I would do that. So I'm going to put here, I'm just playing the, let's put MLB, and then we'll go early slate. And then we're just playing 30 lineups today in this 50K for first. Let's do 30 lineups. So that'd be $450, right? And that's going to be what time? It's going to be at 12:30. So it's today. We'll go 12:29, 12:30 p.m. DraftKings will sell 36% just to give somebody a sweat here. We'll put that in, and then we'll put in the and then we'll actually build these things. It should be actually kind of fun. So let's also do the early slate, and I think, what's the name of that big buy-in? Because I think I'm in it, and then we'll build it kind of right here, and we'll talk about it. I think it should be somewhat fun, or at least educational. Fun it's going to be, but we'll get through it. Hold on. What is that, a 444? A Grand Slam. Early slate, and then we'll go Grand Slam. Slam, and then 1 entry. And then how much is first? 20K for first? 20K for first. And it's going to be $444, 12:30 p.m. and post. Good. And then we will make sure it looks good. If anybody wants to, everybody buys it, fine. If not, that's just fine too. But I wanted to just get that up there. Okay. So first of all, let's see who's around. Okay. So we got a couple of people here. Really nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to first take a look, and again, only because I'm doing this. Normally, we wouldn't do this if Bobby were here. Let's take a look at what the sheets look first for the 3-day slate, 3-gamer, the early one. Then we're going to look at the stacks, and then we're going to just kind of build sort of by hand. And then we're going to build kind of using Sabre. So where I'm looking at this, and this is exactly what I do. I mean, I have the sheets, and I pulled them up, and I post them on the site. And usually the pitchers are the top overall values. But interestingly, they're not. I guess there were a lot of like cheapos in the Mets game, I guess, are showing up as good values. Nonetheless, top play overall looks to be Yu Darvish. And it doesn't look to be particularly close. I have a value square of 34, which is 10 points over the next one. So the 65% ownership doesn't shock me. What does kind of shock me, I guess, is that Senga is coming up pretty horrible projection. I don't know exactly why. That's actually pretty interesting. Only 13-point projection. That seems a little fishy, right? Let me try to dive into this a little bit. Let me just see something. Let's reset the player projection here. No, it's really all you're getting. I don't know what to tell you. Now, when you get a situation like that, when it's just a projection, I want to talk about projections in a second about another sport in general. It's more of a rant, but when you get one that doesn't make sense to you, I mean, you could just manually adjust it, but I mean, you really should. I don't want to say you really should trust them, but let's just say that a lot of work goes into them, and it's more likely that it's just the guy's just not a good play, then there's something wrong with the projection. That's the best I can kind of describe that. Let's just take a look and see if there's just anything wrong, at least what I'm looking at. No, not really. It's just looking like it's just kind of a poor overall play for Senga compared to some of the others. So Darvish then would probably, if I were just hand building, just you want to pair him with any of these three kind of cheapos that all rate very similarly, as far as value scores go. Now, what's kind of neat is that, I mean, this is the way I do it, is to try to pick which one in, say, a single entry. Since they're all rated the same, I'll just pick the lowest owned. So I would go Clevenger. That would be probably my single entry main big lineup thing is probably Clevenger with Darvish. Okay, so like for example, let's pull it up. Why not? I'm not saying I'm actually going to play this, so I guess I can't get too much trouble. Let's see trouble I get into. I won't be that bad because I'm not actually doing this. All right, so this is let's clear this up. Oh, we got an hour. So we'd put in Darvish and we put in Clevenger, and we'd start off with that. And you see we got plenty of money left. So let's see what's next. So now let's take a look at the stacks. And this is the way I do it. Right, wrong, or whatever. Let's pull this up. So this is my stacks page here, and there are three ways you can rank these. One is by just raw points, which is over here in column B. One is by column E, which is just basically just points per dollar. And the third way is modified, which is essentially using my sheet's value score. And the question of how to do it is, it's kind of the riddle of the Sphinx. It's not exactly sure what's the best way to do it. It really kind of depends on your pitchers. If your pitchers look really, really good, and you want to pay up, then you maybe want to use value stack or modified stack. But if you're going cheapo at pitching, you could just basically just don't worry about value and play the raw points over here. Another thing you could do if you wanted to is you can just see like which of these teams appear in kind of multiple columns. So like if you see the Mets, they're like obviously the number one top raw point stack. And then if you resort by modified, they're also the top modified stack. So it's pretty safe to say that the Mets are the best play, right? But herein lies this is what makes DFS fun, is that they're also the highest owned, like by a lot. And this is the great riddle of the Sphinx, right? Is how much better do they have to be to justify how much more ownership? And again, if you knew 100% the answer to that, and you will have cracked the code, and the game would be over. And what fun is that? So this is what I like to do. I really just like to just step back, and then we'll let Saberson build lineups and all this stuff. But if you don't want to use Saberson, you want to do this on your own using these tools, just step back. I'm going to sort these by raw again, and then you'll see that, okay, the Mets are clearly the best play. Fair enough. But then I see 1, 2, 3, 4 teams all kind of close as far as the next group. And then what I'll notice is that the White Sox are significantly lower owned than the previous three. So what I think that I'm inclined to do is opt for the White Sox as my main stack. And what's actually kind of cool about that is that we've already selected Clevenger as the SP2. So you can get a little bit of correlation there with the White Sox and the pitcher. So what I'd like to do is figure out which White Sox to put in. Now, again, what you probably would be great is if the same guys appeared in both the raw stack players and the value players. Doesn't always, life isn't always so easy. But the guys that do show up are, well, Andrew Vaughn, he's in both. Gavin Sheets, he's in both. And Benintendi. So what I like to do is start with those. So let's put those guys in. Where we go? Hold on. Right. So let's start with, and then we got to check the rain, make sure we're not going to get rained out in a minute. As a matter of fact, maybe we should do that first. Actually, we'll do that last. So we'll go Benintendi, Vaughn, and Sheets to start off with. Now, what I'd like to do is I do have to kind of check to make sure that this game is not going to be rained out. Otherwise, we have other issues, thus being a 2-game slate, which makes this all not fun. Let's just see. MLB weather. And let's see what the risk is over here. Looks like my internet's kind of slowing on me a little bit. Updating the weather. Guess I'll have to get back to it. What's going on over here? Am I like totally frozen? Is that what's happened? I really hope not. Felt like I was kind of a little bit of a roll here. I hope I'm not frozen here, which would really, really stink. Because I'm really just literally poking in on Chrome here, and it looks as though I might be frozen. If I'm not, it looks like my whole computer's frozen. You gotta be kidding me. Well, let's just see what happens. Okay, to see if I go. Hope not. Hang on. Get rid of that. I don't know what happened to you guys. I hope I didn't poof you guys completely. Oh, there you are. Oh, I'm not frozen. Oh, thank you, Jax. Whew. All right. So, great. Sorry about that. So, Darvish, Clevenger, Vaughn, Benintendi, Sheets to start off with. And you'll see that I do have 4,700 left per player. So, I could just go ahead and just kind of just spend for the others, right? So, that would be Tim Anderson. And I guess Luis Robert would be the next. So, we could just kind of plow him. So, you could do a 5-man stack with the White Sox, with Clevenger, with Darvish, and yeah. Now again, you could do one-offs. Again, I can't build the whole lineup, but you could do lineup. You could do one-offs. You could fill it in with a 3-man or whatever it is. But I think this is pretty reasonable. Now again, it's. I know if Bobby were here, he would say, "Dude, you don't have to freaking 5-man stack. It's a freaking 3-game slate, right?" I get it. I know. But you know what? He's not here, so he can't yell. I don't know. I like stacking. It looks fun. It appeals to my OCD, and I like to have the guys correlate well together. So I'm not I'm not good enough to figure out which 5 guys are going to get the solo home run. So all else being equal, I'm going to put the 5-man stack here. So we're gonna pile that in. We got to hang on for 1 second. Hello. I literally told you I was recording. Right? Okay. Back. Okay. So, welcome to Sheets World. So I think this is probably a good way to start. Now, again, what you can do, again, if you're just gonna, use these tools, is you go into, let's go back to this, the main projection page here. Let me see, that's the stacks. I don't want that. I want the actual, where they go. That's the FanDuel early. I want the main position pagers. And again, you see I have plenty of room left. So this is kind of like a little trick that it's kind of similar to That's what I do for hockey. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the sheet if I can do it. What the hell's wrong with my Excel? What the hell's wrong with my computer in general? I don't know. But let's just see. Oh, not that one. Oh, pretty brutal. Oh, there it is. So let's just sort everything by sheet value score. Let's just pick the top guys, and hopefully they're in the same game. So like you can play two Mets together. You can do that. You could play. Can't play two KCs together because then you're playing Clevenger. So it looks like these Mets are kind of good one-offs here. I do see that Alvarez at 2,500. He works at catcher. So you just pick kind of your favorite one-offs and kind of make it run, and that's probably what I'm going to end up doing in the big buy-in. So let's now go to SaberSim and see what SaberSim would look like if we built from there. You're not a Clevenger believer. I mean, I think it's terrible. I think it's terrible. It's just unfortunately a slate with just bad options. I'm with you. I think Clevenger is an extremely poor play if you want to know the truth, but you have to pick two pitchers, and it's kind of where I'm at. The three guys that all look pretty bad, and one guy's going to be the lowest owned of them. I mean, it's just kind of what I'm doing. All right, so let's now. What we're going to do is we're going to go back in here. We're going to upload the projections, and I want to talk about projections in a rant in a few minutes. Yeah, I know, Jason. I get it. But same guy at 10. You can be right. I'm not gonna disagree with you. Clevenger is kind of a crappy play. I'm not gonna lie. Just sometimes you end up with crappy plays. I don't know what to tell you. So we upload the projections in here, and let's build 30 lineups. We're gonna use. Oh yeah, why not? We'll use the 150 max settings. It'll be 30 lines. Let's just see what we get. I am guessing that I'm going to get something similar. I'm going to be guessing that I get some White Sox. The SaberSim does a good job with that, with the ownership fades. So let's just see. Yeah. So as I mentioned, so it would get me Darvish. Just makes sense. But look at all these Padres. Lots of Padres exposure in my 30. Like if we looked at it, first of all, let's look at stack types. So it did have mostly 5-man stacks, but I'll show you something it did do in a second. Team stack actually gives me 100% San Diego. So if I played 30 lineups with the projections I had, it would play 100% San Diego. The other thing that's kind of neat to see what it does is that unless I told it to give me a minimum salary, look at all this money we're leaving on the table. Like 47-1 in the top lineup, 48-6, 49-3, whatever it is, 49-1, 49-7, whatever, but 47-9. So question people ask is what do you do with that? Now again, I'm not sure what's the answer, but I will tell you what I do is that I just leave it. I don't care. I mean, if it's leaving 3,000 on the table, I'll just leave 3,000 on the table, especially on a short slate like this, and just kind of live with it. Because the idea is that you're putting the projections in, it's running these sims, and it's coming up with the highest upside projecting lineups without caring about how much salary you're using. So for me, I would, using this build, if I were playing 30 lineups, I would not delete a lineup simply because it's leaving money on the table. Now, the next question that people will ask is, when you get a build like this, are you okay with playing 100% of any stack in baseball or anything in general? And again, for me, I don't mind at all. I won't criticize you if you decide that you don't want to play 100% of a stack, because baseball does have quite a bit of variance. Okay. Um, so if you don't want to risk your whole, slate bankroll on one team, I don't blame you. But in general, for me, if I get 100% of a team, I'm going to play 100% of the team. That's just the way I kind of deal with it. Well, if you want, like, if you want to fiddle around, okay, I don't feel like playing 100% San Diego, so I'll play. I only want to play 60%. You literally just put 60% in here, a button, and then it'll just redo it for you. Now I'm getting 83% White Sox, and let's say I don't feel like playing White Sox. So what I'm doing here is I am making my distribution of lineups less optimal. In other words, I'm not getting any more the best 30 lineups, but I'm reducing risk. Okay. Which does have some value. Okay. Then I will go back. I'll just see to make sure that, we have good stack integrity still. And let's just see what my pitchers look. Here I would have like 90% Clevenger. And that I certainly wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm minding in that, it's terrible because it's Clevenger. And if you want, like I said, you go into pitchers and let's say you don't want that. You don't want 90% of Clevenger. Let's say you don't want any Ben Lively for that matter. Like just so I don't want Ben Lively either. Let's X him out. Okay. Who needs Ben Lively? Just X him out. Because what's cool about SaberSim is it just kind of like draws the next bunch of lineups. So you know what? You're right. You don't want 100% Clevenger. Say I'll only want 80. Good God help me. Okay. So I want 70. What's cool about it is, again, you don't have to rerun the lineups. Let's kind of do it for you here. 83% Darvish, 70% Clevenger. Then you get your 25% of Singer. You get a little bit of Singer, a little bit of Bailey over. And then if I want to keep that, I'll just, just kind of show you. Just take this. Now you can use the SaberSim entry editor. And just go right back into here. You got 41 minutes, so I got plenty of time. And the funny thing is, most of my is from that. So, well, what's interesting is that, ooh, look at the weather. The weather is actually yellow-orange in that game. Ooh, we got more variance here. It says the worst of the rain is here before noon or so. Ooh, it's not a dry afternoon. They're still possible. Let's see, and not to mention the fact that that you take pictures from that game. It's extra risk. So we're gonna definitely have to keep an eye on, especially on a 3-game slate. But for now, we're just gonna kind of keep it. And it's listen, it's more process than anything else. So I want to look at the later slates. I'll talk to you about projections for a few minutes. Now, again, it's just a couple. Some of you guys are here, but I was away. I was out for like a week or so. I had a death in the family. For those of you guys didn't know, I appreciate the support and all that. But I went. Look at all this money being left on the table. Wow. One of the things that I noticed, I was kind of tweaking some stuff. I will say that, boy, oh boy, a lot of projection models that I've come to trust over the years, not even come to trust because I'm constantly backtesting, whatever. People are getting really lazy in the industry. I have to say. I mean, I've seen just this morning. I was up early, like doing this kind of stuff for golf and for other sports, but some of the bigger companies that have been around for a long time doing these projections that pride themselves on this, they're really just kind of dropping. I mean, they're making just egregious like omissions, like egregious, like just random input errors. I mean, it's just terrible, honestly. And listen, I know it's not easy, but listen, you engage in this type of business and you want to make projections and people rely on them. I mean, some of the mistakes I'm seeing are just really, really poor. Now, again, fortunately, I try to go in and tweak and fix them, but what doesn't help is that when I used to, I would reach out to some of the people who make the projections for the other sites, and I would say, listen, you got this error here, and they would either say F off, or worse, they would make up some excuse for why the projection was what it was, instead of just admitting they just kind of screwed up and made a mistake, which is that's probably even worse. So I've just decided that I'm no longer going to be reaching out to them when I see a mistake. I'm just going to fix it on my own, and then we'll just kind of get the edge. And that's just basically it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have it in me to just literally go through and fix every mistake. It's just impossible. But I will say that there's a lot of it. There is just a lot of laziness with respect to And listen, I don't want to sound like my father. I really don't. I don't want to sound laziness in society, laziness in working, whatever it is. But it's something that should be so data driven that it's there was one example. There was one place said in golf they had Harry Hall with a higher median projection than Scotty Scheffler in the golf tournament today. And I know why it was. They literally they misinputted his win odds or something like that, and that kind of caused everything to kind of trickle, whatever it is. And so I made the mistake of bringing it up, and they said, and they could have said, "Oh, Sheets, thank you so much for pointing it out, whatever it is." But instead, they gave me some song and dance, "Oh no, he was trending really high in his approach stats." So yeah, I can see how that would be. You know what? That's seriously. So I decided that I'm no longer going to point it out. We're just going to kind of be that group that takes advantage of it, and that's going to be the end of that. Okay, let's take a look. What do we want to do? Well, I guess the first thing I want to do. Actually, I got time. Let's do, while I'm here, either an NBA build or a late baseball. Let's take a look at the main baseball. I did put up early sheets, and this is going to be the first time that I look at it, and now I think I'm going to actually TrueDFS because I already replaced that file. So I'm going to go into TrueDFS actually, and I don't really go into the site, and I probably should. So I gotta log in first. Sorry about this. Authentication code. And again, so when I did my my sheets for that slate, we could do the same thing for the later slates straight from the TrueDFS site, providing that this launches. This is rule 1 of content: always test your technology before you throw it out there. So it's possible that this all stalls on. All right. So this is basically the same thing. Now you'll see, by the way, wow, I haven't seen this in a while. So I have several ways of looking at this. So see, these are my sheets. One says DraftKings. Then you have DraftKings Goldie. I think that these are today. They are actually, because it's Thursday. You'll see one thing that's different is he does it all alphabetically, where mine default to actually Sheets value score. You see all these kind of Sheets values. First thing I want to look at are the pitchers. And I see that Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan Eovaldi at 9,500 is the top value on this. How is that possible? And he's 67% owned too. Wow, interesting. Drew Rasmussen, 9,200. Oh, it's only 3 games slate, whatever. He's like all the way down the list. Herman all the way down the list. So the Eovaldi play is going to be the one that's going to be a really challenging. I couldn't imagine this. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. Then we're going to take a look at the stacks, which I have. Now I have these again defaulted to modified stacks. So you have San Francisco to be the top. No, DFS estimate. I'm going to DFS was Nasty Nate, huh? We're all dead talking about how paying up for Nasty Nate. Yeah, I guess, right? So yeah, we're gonna look at Nasty Nate in a second here because I don't know if I want to do that. But as far as stacks go, it looks like San Francisco, Texas, and Oakland as far as values go, and then on raw points, Texas, San Francisco. So it looks like Texas and San Francisco would be the best hitting, and then Eovaldi, God help us, would be late. Okay. So, and that's where we would start. But I'm just curious if it's actually what would happen. Now, the first thing I want to do, and this is again we're really testing our technology here, because it's always almost random whether my projections actually make it to SaberSim using the TrueDFS interface. So we're going to try. Like if you are a SaberSim subscriber, you are supposed to have my projection go straight from those tables right to this page, which is the SaberSim page. All right, so let's just take a look. Oh, it doesn't look like it's going to work. Let's just see. Main slate. Yeah, it doesn't look. Oh, no, it does not look like it made it. All right, so we'll have to, unfortunately, take a look at that. You really want a behind the scenes thing? Well, what we're going to do is do this right now. We're going to go Discord, and I'm going to say that the sheets did not make it up SaberSim either. Regular or the late slate. So we're going to put it in here. Hang on. Then we're going to talk about the slate. Sigh. That's my own fault for bragging that it was going to happen without looking at it first. Let's say neither my early slate sheets nor main slate sheets made it to SaberSim, and of course I was demo live adding to the anyway. Okay. So what you can do though is you can cheat. So what you could do is you can go back to the projections from MLB projections. And I'm sorry, listen, I'm just kind of spewing here, but that's okay. This is ultimate voyeurism. You're seeing exactly what I'm doing. And I don't even know what I was going to do. So you go back into this. What you do is you could just turn this into a CSV. Just go here. Project. So then what you can do, or to Roto Grinders or Fantasy Cruncher, quite frankly, if SaberSim's not going to make it so that I can immediately throw it on there, I'm going to get kind of mad. Let's just see. Fortunately, we have 7 hours to figure this out. All right. So let's go back to main slate. And the reason we're doing this, we wanted to get an early look at what this build is going to look like. And play Nathan Eovaldi is basically the source. So you hit upload, and you hit CSV. and then you can upload that, just download it, and you'll see put in this information. So now let's take a look. Let's take a look at what 30 lineups again. Let's look what 30 lineups would look like, but at 150 max settings. And are really going to get all the what you call the nasty Nate? Okay, let's just see, because I don't see a world where I want to play nasty Nate at 67% ownership. And the cool thing about it is this is the United States of America. You know, like there are people that died, millions of people died in wars all throughout the world over the centuries, so that for my freedom to not Nate. Now, let's see what these guys, these Saberson characters want me to do. Saberson have nasty Nate at 50%, but not like 100. Have to say, you know, I mean, so you don't have to play him. It's not a problem because you can just go play all of the Tommy Henry. Oh, which is kind of cool because I mentioned that San Francisco was kind of like the one of the top rated stacks. So if you can get away with playing the Tommy Henry, getting the leverage against the San Franciscos, let's go. So this would be the initial look at the lates at the main is, yeah, the nasty Nate, but not all the nasty Nate, you know. And then if you want, you go to Team Stack, and it would actually be giving you 100% access. So you probably have to make that decision. But if you didn't play the nasty Nate, yeah, why don't you play Tommy Henry and Arizona maybe, or something like that. I will say, by the way, that I think Oakland is probably going to be certainly worth playing. I mean, nasty Nate, 67% ownership. You're going to have to play some Oakland. You're just going to have to. Okay, now I don't need to save any of this, right? You know, this is well. The only thing is, I'm not, just so you guys know, I'm not going to be around for live, so this is probably going to be the only time I go over it. But I will just say this: you don't have to listen. You don't have to play nasty Nate if you don't want to. In a weird way, I think it's more important you play the Texas hitters than playing nasty. And this is what I do. Sometimes I'll save these to my dummy lineups, and I'll just download them here, and I'll just pull them up. Actually, this way I have something to put in. So let's upload these to my lineup page, just so I have something. It's going just a little slow because, yeah. All right, so at least I have some lineups in there. And again, as long as you guys are here, I mean, listen, I'll spend a couple of minutes doing this. I'll throw a quick look at the NBA, so you guys know I did an MMA DFS preview earlier. I'm just having issues uploading it. It'll be there by the end of the day. Let's take a look at the NBA, because I did do that. And why not NBA? We'll take a look at the NHL, and again, we'll look at it from a process perspective. We'll look at it from the purposes, from the point of actually building lineups. So let's pull up the NBA sheet while we're here. Any luck, it'll show up. Okay, there it is. So again, it's like anything else. I mean, I'll start sorting by sheet value score, see what it looks like, and then I'll sort by point per dollar, see what it looks like, and then we'll just kind of like figure out, you know. So first thing I see is Embiid and Jokic are the two top plays, you know. I see though is that it's not as if Jokic is going to be 1,000,000% owned. I mean, like they make these value plays much more important because sort of they are. And then when you look at points per dollar, once again, it's Embiid and Jokic. So like these are the three plays. Okay, there's Embiid and or Jokic, with Cameron Payne as kind of like the value play du jour. So what I'll do is I will pull up SaberSim. We will. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing it manually. Upload the SaberSim. Let's just see what let's listen. So two gamers. So I don't know how different you can really get. Let's just see what a 40 lineup build looks like in the NBA. I presume it's going to be all the Cameron Payne. I presume, and I wonder how much Jokic and or Embiid we get. I'm anticipating not as much as you think. Yeah. So, wow, top play would be actually Aaron Gordon. That is somewhat interesting. And as a matter of fact, Jokic is sort of down the list, right? I think Jokic is only 20% owned in my first build here, so that's sort of interesting. So that's what I'm gonna be looking at, And the other thing that I would do is I would go to stack types and just make sure there's not like 6 guys from the same team. I mean, you could play 5 on a 2-game slate. Just make sure there's no 6. So listen, aside from this is totally good. So I will just, for now, and then I'll upload this into my dummy lineups just so I have this, this kind of framework. So so again, like this is what, even though it's early in the day, I like to do this to get a sense of what could be, as opposed to what will be. So the first thing I'm getting is here Aaron Gordon. I mean, I think and Cameron Payne are kind of standing out, which is it's not something I might have imagined Cameron Payne standing out, but not so much Aaron Gordon. So that's something to note. Okay, so now we will finish off by doing the same thing, and then I will listen. Any questions? Really take advantage of me being here. I'm going to leave probably about 15 minutes or so. Might as well take a look at the NHL. I mean, it's a 2-game slate, very reasonable. It's been 2-game slates for a while now, and we've had some good results. Let's do the same thing. We'll upload and again, we're going to update these sheets hopefully a little bit later. But when it comes to the basketball, even in the hockey and the 2-game slates, fortunately, there's not going to be a lot of changes, because there's going to be no late. There's probably going to be no late injuries. Probably the starters are going to be starting whatever. So let's take a look. Let's take a look what we get from the NHL if we played once again. Let's say we played 30 lineups. 30 lineups. We'll set it at 150 max settings though. Let's just see what we might come up with. Looks like I don't know what's happening here. Again, we're challenging the technology. We didn't build this beforehand. Maybe I didn't update the. Maybe I didn't do the projection file right, which is why it's not really building anything. It looks like it's building something though, right? This is like computer stuff. It says 0 out of 500, but this thing is going. Does you think it's actually doing something? It's either going to show 0, it could build no lineups, or it's going to have the full 500. Let's see. Loading. Here it comes the. There it is. Couldn't do anything. So I don't know what I ended up doing here. So I don't know exactly what I would do. But what I can do just to save lineups, and I'll go back to my sheets for a second. Let's reset the fall. I don't know why my projections are off. Okay. So what we could do is we could just build some dummy lineups with the SaberSim stuff just to give an idea of what's happening. I think that's going to be the issue. I think it was because of something of my custom stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so it's obviously, well, maybe not. Look, it's not built. Oh, it's building lineups with SaberSim stuff, but not my own. All right, so I got to fix that. I'm glad I did this. So if we just use the SaberSim, whatchamacallit, projections, we'd be getting mostly Dallas. Dallas, then Seattle, then Carolina, then Seattle, but very, very little New Jersey, which is interesting. And as far as stack types go, I mean, again, I still like to have reasonable stacks here, and this would all kind of be good. So again, just to save something, we will upload these to my and I guess that's pretty much it. I'm probably, just so you guys know, I'm going to go back and probably redo one more build in my baseball from this morning. But, I mean, I'm pretty much sticking to what I'm doing. And it's just a question of how much money I want to leave on the table. I probably wouldn't mind leaving the 3,000 just for fun of these. I hope that helped. Oh, questions. So, Clay, do you set rules for MLB? No. I don't set any rules at all when I use SaberSim. SaberSim does a really, really good job of incorporating all the rules that I would want anyway in my initial builds. But what I will do, like I said, is that after my build is done and after, like I said, after I come up with, say, this, and this is like the build after I just put my projections in and went boom, right? Then I'll just look at it and say, oh, okay, do I need to like trim exposures, or do I need to do whatever? But I won't say something like I need -3 from a team or -4 from a team. I do trust the algorithms to kind of do that for me. And so you say, so do you trim your pitcher pool or players of various positions? Very rarely, definitely never position players. Sometimes pitchers, and again, this is probably, it's probably not the greatest thing, but sometimes, listen, just this is because I have the fault of being human. I just don't like playing some guys. Like, I don't know who that would be, but like if I like don't like playing Brady Singer, I will exit him. Probably not the greatest idea in the world, but I won't. But it's not just because I feel as though I should have less pitchers. It's just because I'm probably biased, or I just don't feel like playing a pitcher. You know what I mean? Like, I won't say, boy, 10 pitchers seems like too much. That I really won't mess around with. Anything else? All right, I am going to roll. Good luck, everybody. And I don't know if I'm going to be around later. I hope to update my projections later. And that will do it.